So as long as I can remember, as tall as big enough to get onto a boat, my dad's taking me fishing and oystering and crabbing. My family's pretty extensive down here, the older generations. Again, obviously I was born and raised down here. My grandfather and grandparents, they were watermen way back in the day. So it's somewhat of a heritage, it's somewhat of a family tradition as far as the water business down in this particular area of Charles County, down in here in Cobb Island area. My name is Bill Kilinski. I'm president of the Charles County Watermen's Association. Born and raised here on Cobb Island all my life, 50 plus years. And I'm also a commercial waterman, a commercial fisherman. I'm more emphasized now in my primary work is oyster business, is the oyster fishery. I grow my own oysters. I harvest oysters during the wild fishery season from the state of Maryland. But down in this particular area, we've got an abundance of crabs at times, blue crabs. The catfish industry, the catfish market has really exploded over the past 5 to 10 years. It started about 10 years ago, but now it seems like there's more people getting involved into the commercial catfishing. Striped bass, we still have a small commercial fishery to be able to harvest striped bass. And those are primarily the bigger species that we target here in the Cobb Island area, in the Potomac and the Wicomico here in Charles County. There's many challenges. For one thing, it's pretty difficult for a younger person or a person of interest to come into this field, to come into this industry, because it's so expensive. This is my boat here. This has always been my dream boat. This boat right now is probably anywhere from $60,000 to $100,000 just for the boat alone. If they have an interest, whoever might be interested in going into the crabbing business, to crab pots or to trot line or whatever type of gear we're talking about, that could be anywhere from another to $20,000 to $50,000 as far as gearing out. And that is a huge amount of money to invest as far as going into a specific type of fishery here in the commercial industry. Oystering has always kind of been an art. People think they can kind of just hop on the boat and go in here and catch oysters, but there's a little bit more to it. It takes years to develop the techniques and years to kind of master to be a really good oysterman. And just the day-to-day operation, we're dealing with Mother Nature as far as the weather. We're dealing with the water quality as far as that's going to impact your harvest and such. It's pretty difficult to be a waterman these days, and that's just kind of the tip of the iceberg. I'm sure there's other things that I'm quite not recalling that are out there that are going to impact us in one way or the other. So a positive, if we look at the history here in Cobb Island, at one time there was 100 boats. I'm referring to the oyster industry, 100 boats, and just the activity that went out of here back in the day. There's a lot that's going on. It's a way of life. I mean, I've always done it all my life. It's when you get on this boat by yourself or with your family or another person, and I mean, just the reward from that. It's hard work. If I don't leave the dock, if I don't go to work, then I don't get paid. People don't get fed because we are providing a food source, the seafood business, for people to consume and such. So there's a lot more rewards that I'm probably not thinking of right now, but it's a good way of life. It's been a good history, heritage, as far as generation from generation, and just not me, but the local watermen as well. This goes way back when here in the Cobb Island region and Lower Charles County as far as people working the waters. So I can remember back to the early 80s, the late 70s, and again, there was many boats that traveled out of here to go to work. This is the only oyster boat that's coming out of Cobb Island right now. So from the 80s to where we're at today, from 100 boats down to one boat, that is a tremendous amount of change that has occurred specific to the oyster fishery. The water quality, the erosion is enormous that I can't absorb the amount of erosion and the loss of land that has occurred in this area that I go by every day. And I can remember as a kid that there was land that stuck out another 100, 200, 300 feet, but now it's washed away in the river systems and such. And that's bad because that mud, that sediment, that soil is going to our oyster reefs and they're slowly burying our oyster reefs. An oyster reef, in order for it to thrive, in order for it to be productive, it has to be clean. It has to have a clean, viable shell down there for that oyster to thrive on, and it's not happening. That's somewhat of the topics, I guess, as far as some of the stuff that I'm seeing. So one thing that I did find out here in Charles County alone, there's 247 people, residents in Maryland that hold commercial licenses. So, which might not seem like a whole lot, but compared to other counties, other areas within the state of Maryland, but there's that much activity that is taking place here in Charles County. So I would tell people to buy local because we're supporting the local community here. The seafood is fresh, it's caught daily, it tastes better, and again, we're just supporting the local community. I mean, there's 3 major restaurants that are down here that there's quite a few people that are employed with these restaurants, and it's a good quality seafood, it's a fresh seafood, and plus we're also supporting the Waterman when we buy local. So yes, I encourage you to support your local watermen and to buy local seafood here in Charles County.
Hi, I'm J.W. King with the Charles County Volunteer Fire and EMS Association. As summer's here and grilling season is upon us, we want to go over a few grilling tips so you have a safe grilling season and barbecues and cookouts and everything. First, what you want to do is make sure your grill is a good 3 to 4 feet away from any structure, house, fences, eaves, soffits. The hotter the grill gets, it will burn into your house. Also, you want to make sure all your propane connections are tight because if it's leaking gas while you're cooking, the grill could explode. Always want to keep kids and animals minimum of 3 feet away from you while you're cooking so there's no hazards in tripping. Thank you.
Applying for jobs with Charles County government is now easier and more efficient. Visit www.charlescountymd.gov for more information.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Lowry. I'm the Environmental Compliance Manager with Charles County Department of Public Works Facilities. So typically twice a year, Charles County Department of Public Works, we host a rain barrel workshop in conjunction with the University of Maryland Extension Office and also Master Gardeners. Within these workshops, we cover rain barrels and composting. So it's really the importance of, we're trying to engage in environmental outreach to our citizens. First and foremost, they reduce pollution to the Chesapeake Bay, which is actually covered in the workshop pretty extensively, but also water conservation. So you can use the water to water your plants, to wash your car, and it can also save you money because the county does a tax remediation credit for the stormwater remediation fee and also on your water bill. So you'll use less water, therefore you'll pay less also. Some other examples of how they can help the environment, they can also reduce erosion. So some people will notice the rush of water that's leaving their roof. During a rainstorm, it'll go down the downspout and can cause erosion. So that's another way that it helps to reduce pollution and help keep your yard straight. Also, if you're on a well system, you can use it to flush your toilets. If you're out of power, it's water available for use for that. And also a lot of people use it for water conservation. So instead of having to go to your tap or use your hose bib every time that you want to use water to wash your car or any sort of outdoor use, you're using your tap. Well, that also not only costs you money every time you use your tap, but it also is taking water out of the local aquifers or out of the water system. So by having reusable water that you collected perfectly free and easily accessible, you're keeping that water close to your home and it's not running off anywhere. So reducing pollution, saving money, and help conserving water also. For more information, if you're interested in learning more, we do host rain barrel workshops and composting twice a year, so you can attend one of the workshops. But also on our website, charlescountymd.gov/watershed, our Planning and Growth Management Department has a host of information for if you want to learn the whys, hows, whens to install and have a rain barrel.